because of circumstances, it doesn't work out as you planned. But other great stuff happens, doesn't it? Like, you've just got to be alert to what the opportunities are and just to make the most of them. And sometimes you end up back where you started. Sometimes you end up somewhere where you didn't expect to be. But like, as long as you're enjoying the present, it doesn't really matter. That said, you've also got to strike while the iron is hot, right? Green fossicking in the early morning sun. Hey, good morning, how are ya? This is the morning walk. Thanks for joining me. And man, I've got a hell of a story for you today. It's just crazy. I'm actually back in Winton, in Western Queensland. We were here like months ago, and it's one of those places where when you pass through it, yeah, it's kind of cute, but not the kind of place that you would ever really expect to come back to, let alone so quickly. I'm going to tell you all about that. But how are you today? Drop me a note down below if you're a new friend or an old friend. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me what's going on. I'll definitely get back to you. Because, I'll tell you what, it's a freaking beautiful day out here. Just look at that blue sky. Just an amazing day to be alive. So that's kind of a stupid thing to say because every day is a good day to be alive. Anyway, let's have a walk and have a chat. I'm going to show you around the town of Winton and talk about this crazy thing that's happened. Let's go. I'll tell you a little bit about the way this trip has unfolded, because it hasn't unfolded at all as planned. Because of the coronavirus stuff. Essentially, we were a couple of months late getting out of Sydney, and eventually they opened the border with Queensland. We were going to go via South Australia, but that border was closed, and we're like, oh quick, the Queensland border's open, let's dash across there. And that was back in July. They finally, we got across, and then they closed the Queensland border. And so literally we just had this window of about a week where we were able to get out of Sydney, and we did. Have subsequently done like an amazing trip through the Northern Territory and Queensland as well, like down the coast of Queensland, which has been extraordinary. And then the big plan for this whole trip was like getting over into Western Australia and doing a big trip down the west coast and what have you. But Western Australia was being closed until like 2 days ago, when we were quite literally in the geographically furthest point from the West Australian border. And then they announced that they were opening in 2 weeks' time. And so given this experience that we've had, just getting across borders as soon as they opened, we just figured like we had to go for it. And so from Rockhampton, we jumped in the car. We're now 2 days into driving 4,300 kilometres to get to the West Australian border, pretty much as it opens, to make sure we get in. Because one thing's for sure, as soon as they open up, if there's any cases of coronavirus that pop up, they're going to close straight away. So we just want to make sure that we absolutely get in no matter what. And it does mean we have to do this kind of nutty trip, 4,000 plus Ks. But you know what? It's so cool to come back to, places that you've already been and that you weren't expecting to go to again. You really need to strike while the iron is hot sometimes. It might seem crazy. You might have all of these things, these ideas, these plans laid out in front of you, and then suddenly, boom, there it is. That thing that you were hanging out for, that thing that you know is the right thing to do, and you've just got to go for it. Because if you don't, that opportunity is gone. And at least, if you go for it and it doesn't work out, you just go back and do what you were doing before, follow those plans that you had. But if it does work out, it's even better. And it's funny, isn't it? Because sometimes, maybe it's the beauty of travel, you start off in one place, you've got this idea of what you're going to do, and because of circumstances, it doesn't work out as you planned. But other great stuff happens, doesn't it? Like, you've just got to be alert to what the opportunities are and just to make the most of them. And sometimes you end up back where you started. Sometimes you end up somewhere where you didn't expect to be. But as long as you're enjoying the present, it doesn't really matter. Winton's a funny town. It's, a couple of square blocks, pretty quiet. It's like the edge of the opal fields here in Queensland. People come here looking for opal. See they're mining. It's also part of the dinosaur trail, which is pretty impressive actually. Australia has like quite an interesting collection of dinosaur sites, and they're all pretty much up here. From here you can go to Winton, to Richmond, and here at Winton you've got two great sites. Lark Quarry, which is about 100 k's south from here, and then the Australian Age of Dinosaurs Museum, which is absolutely mind-blowing. You know, up on this big jump up in the middle of the desert, and it's just beautiful. It's absolutely just beautiful. So I guess it is kind of a place that people do come to explore, even if you've never heard of it. But the town itself, you explore it pretty fast. You're pretty much looking at it. One street, 3 pubs, classic country Australia. Wind has really picked up. It's pretty warm. You obviously don't see that, but it's already maybe like 25, 26 degrees. We're heading for 40 today. And in fact, today we're jumping in the car and driving about another 6 hours to Mount Isa. So, managed to get out this morning while it was nice and cool, have a coffee here in town. And now I've got to change the fuel filter on our Land Cruiser before we drive. The little light came on yesterday. Just make sure that everything is running nicely. We have no troubles when we're in the middle of the desert driving to Mount Isa. And so that's it for today. You can make all the plans you want, be as organised as you want, and then circumstances outside your control come and throw all of that in a big pile of shit. What do you do? You just got to make the most of whatever's put in front of you. But when that moment arises and you see the opportunity, you know, the one that you really want, it doesn't matter how many plans and how many things are laid out in front of you. You just got to strike while the iron is hot and go for it. And yeah, sometimes that means like throwing out, screwing up, you know, all of these beautiful new plans that you've put together. But if it feels right, if you know in your heart that's the thing that you really want, don't hesitate, go for it. Strike while the iron is hot. Whatever you're getting up to today, I hope it's a good one, because it's a beautiful day. I'll see you next time on The Morning Walk. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.